What's up, everybody? My name is Scott Waters. Welcome to No Life to Metal. It's time for a rock metal update. That's right. Time for a rock metal update. All 12-inch vinyl. Mostly all metal here, so I'm going to get right into it. Start off with Raven, one of my favorite from the new wave of British heavy metal. This album from 1997, I believe, originally released on SPV Records, CD only. This is a Night of the Living Dead. Sorry, Night of the Living... We'll try one more time. Night of the Vinyl Dead release. There are 500 copies made. As you can see, your little sticker down here, it says limited 500 copies. See on the fourth side for details. So why is that? Very unique way of numbering a record. I will show it to you. First of all, front cover, back cover. It looks very nice. They did a great job with it. There's no, mores or pixelating. It's this fantastic reissue. Back photos looks great. You've got Joe Hasselvander here in the center, who is unfortunately no longer with the band, but who was with the band for probably the longest of any drummer. And classic album. But let me show you the way they number this album. It's pretty unique. I've never seen any other record company do a record quite like this. So here is disc 2. As you can see, here is the playing side of the disc with the mock Atlantic Records center ring. Kind of odd though. I mean, this album was never released on Atlantic, so I'm not sure what the thought process was behind, doing a mock Atlantic Records. But whatever. They were on Atlantic Records for a while. But there's your numbered side. You can see I have 446 of 500. And you can see the screen printed Raven and 500, and then a custom center label that says limited edition. Pretty cool. I've never seen anything quite like it. I like that far better than, spacing it out to 4 sides of the record for an album that would fit on 3 sides as it did. So, pretty darn cool. And now, Night of the Vinyl Dead, I pre-ordered that one because I knew it was going to sell out, as all Night of the Vinyl Dead releases usually do. So glad to have that one. And the next one as well, which I will have here in a moment. This is also Raven, Night of the Vinyl Dead, One for All. I think this one came out in 2000, 99, 2000, somewhere in that area. Again, same lineup. Joe Hasselvander on drums. Mark and John Gallagher. Classic Raven. If you like early Raven, if you like the pre-Atlantic years, if you like Nothing Exceeds like Excess, this is kind of in that same vein. It was an obvious attempt to gain back the sound of All for One, thus One for All. Great album from Raven. Again, this is a Night of the Vinyl Dead. This is number 493 of 500. This is a single album. It does have an insert that's it's kind of a cheap insert, but at the same time it's kind of cool in that it kind of has the look of the old early Raven albums from Rock Till You Drop and Wipe Out, where they just had the simple black ink lyric sheets. So there you go. And I think the record was, it's purple. Again, you got the kind of mock center label here for Neat Records, although it does say Night of the Vinyl Dead Records on it. So very creative. Again, I'm not sure what the thought process was behind putting the Neat label on there, as this was never released on Neat. I believe this was might have been Metal Blade that released this one back in the day. Anyhow, Raven. Next up, another couple albums from the same band. This is an album from 2003, 2004, somewhere in that area. In the 1990s, man, I was into this band big. I still am. I still love this band. But in the 1990s, these guys were just playing straightforward heavy metal, power metal, when every other band was playing crap. So I really got into these guys heavy in the 90s. I mean, I dug stuff, Witch Hunter and Heavy Metal Breakdown from the 80s, and I was a fan of those albums. I own those albums, but there was just something about those albums that came out afterwards that just really just coming out during a time when heavy metal was like a dirty word, and Gravedigger didn't care. They were just heavy metal anyhow. Anyhow, very cool that this one's finally released on vinyl. This is on Rough Trade Records. I ordered this one twice. It's on a gold kind of a shiny gold, if I can get it out of the sleeve. Vinyl. Sounds good. First order, I did this one on Amazon. I pre-ordered it. And I got my pre-order in the mail. It came from not directly from Amazon, but from an Amazon seller. It was poorly packaged. It came shaped like a bowl. Like if you were looking at it like this rather than flat, it was shaped like this. The entire box was shaped like that. So I got the box. I knew immediately that there was no way the record survived. So I opened the box. I didn't unseal the record because I knew it. The minute I pulled it out, it was every single corner was dog-eared, and the record was just bowl-shaped. So I went to Amazon and returned it. And unfortunately, that seller does not do exchanges, which really irritated me. So I had to reorder the album, and it ended up costing me $5 more. So yeah, kind of a bummer. But you know, stuff happens. It wasn't the seller's fault necessarily. It was the mail. But classic Gravedigger, and another classic Gravedigger album. This one from 1994. Yeah, 94, because it was the same year as. Yeah, I'm right. I had to think about it. 1994. Now this one here is on the Jolly Roger Records, and again, I pre-ordered this one because it was a pre-release, and not just because I'm a huge Gravedigger fan, but I knew it would sell out because it was released with another album that I'll show you in a second, and both of them are sold out. So I've got number 36 of 100 pressed. Only 100 copies of this classic EP. Now, a lot of Gravediggers albums are concept records. They're stories, and they're almost progressive in sound, very European power metal sounding. But this album is much more. If you like the early stuff, if you like heavy metal breakdown, if you like Witch Hunter and that kind of thing, it kind of has that kind of flair to it. It's more straightforward metal. The songs aren't stories. It's not a bunch of songs making up a story. Each song is its own story, and it's a 6-song EP. And on this particular album, the songs are repeated on both sides. So, Gravedigger, Symphony of Death. Now, I know I'm a pain in the neck with the graphics because that's what I do, but unfortunately, I think that Gravedigger guy looks horrible. He's very pixelated, and then the photos in the back are very harsh as well. Kind of wish I could have had a shot at redoing this record. I do like the fact that whoever did the graphics on this tried to clean it up by refreshing the logo and refreshing the type. That's obviously new type on the bottom. It's not scan type, but yeah, the image of the Gravedigger playing the violin there is definitely very rough. But otherwise, a cool reissue. Along with that one, where is it? Oh, I forgot to grab it. Give me 5 seconds. Okay, my bad. Sorry about that. Dr. Butcher. This is, you can see the picture of the band in the back. This is John Oliver from Sabotage. I keep wanting to say Chris Oliver. Obviously, Chris Oliver had passed away before this album came out. This album came out also in 1994, and this is also on the Jolly Roger Records label, and it was also a limited pressing. And this too is sold out. This is on Orange record. I will show that to you in a moment. But did want to show you there's a picture of the band in the back. So you've got Chris Caffrey, who played with Seven Witches and Sabotage and a bunch of other bands. And then you've got John Osborne, who also played with Seven Witches, and I think he might have played in Sabotage for a spell as well, though I don't think he played on any albums. And then Brian Gregory on bass. Now, sound-wise, if you like that early Sabotage stuff, think like the song Hall of the Mountain King or Sirens, that kind of heavy, straightforward metal that Sabotage did back in the day before they went to the more progressive sound. That's what you're going to get here. Maybe a little heavier, but still straightforward heavy metal. Great stuff. John Oliver screams his heart out on this thing. Great album. Very aggressive. Glad I was able to get a copy. Unfortunately, I know for a fact this thing is sold out, so you're going to have to get it from somebody who's reselling it, and unfortunately prices have probably doubled or tripled on these things. So Jolly Roger Records, Dr. Butcher. Next up, one of my favorite bands from the 90s. I mean, this band, along with Gravedigger, and there's so many great bands in the 90s that I was listening to. Gravedigger, Nevermore comes to mind, another one. There's so many bands I was listening to that weren't popular. And Hammerfall is one of them, this being their first album. A friend of mine sent me a compilation that he made a mixtape, and on that mixtape, the song The Dragon Lies Bleeding, track number 1, from side A was on that compilation, and man, that song just stuck out to me, and I just became such a huge fan of the band from that particular song, and bought everything the band put out from that point on. I mean, and it was all CDs. There was no vinyl at the time. People weren't doing vinyls, and when this thing came out in when this thing came out, this is a 2017, and this is the 20th anniversary reissue, so 1997. Is that when this came out? Yeah, math. So I bought everything. Singles, they put out tons of CD singles. I bought everything. Great band. If you're into straightforward traditional heavy metal, check out Hammerfall. They're very worth checking out. You know, when you tend to think of the epic, like European power metal bands, Hammerfall definitely you know, hold their own playing with those bands, but they really are more straightforward. You know, I mean, they're more influenced by, let's say like the likes of Judas Priest than they are like Halloween, in my opinion. So if you're into that 80s style straightforward heavy metal, you know, you might dig Hammerfall. And I know a lot of guys who, you know, they really won't listen to anything past 1989, which is unfortunate because there's a lot of great metal that was released after that, even though it wasn't mainstream. And Hammerfall are one of those bands, and especially this particular album, their very first album. So this is actually, like I said, the 20th anniversary edition, so there is an extra album in here. The extra album is bonus tracks, which come off of most of the singles that were released at the time. So you've got Raven Lord, then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 live tracks from various years. You've got 2 from '98, 3 from 2012, 1 from 2017, the Glory to the Blade medley, which is an 8-minute long medley. Very, very cool. I like the fact that the bonus tracks are on a separate record, so you don't have to listen to them if you don't want to. You just don't put that album on. Real nice set, too. It is a gatefold. Might as well just show you that real quick. I never did show you the orange vinyl on Dr. Butcher, but so here you go. There's your gatefold, lyrics, liner notes, whatnot. And I think I bought the black vinyl. Yeah, just straightforward black vinyl. So there's the center label. Great album. Next up, I know you're gonna be jealous. You're gonna be like, dude, how did you get that album signed? I'll be honest with you. I have friends in high places. Seriously, that's how I got this album signed. Ultimatum into the Pit. This is my band. We were together for 20 years, been on hiatus since 2012, but this is our 1997, my goodness, our 2007 album, Into the Pit, probably our most popular album of the 5 or so albums that were released, and straightforward heavy metal, in my opinion. Some people would call us thrash metal, and I think we fall kind of in the middle, somewhere between straightforward metal and thrash metal. Our influences were, you know, everything from Iron Maiden to Megadeth, Exodus, Twisted Sister. I mean, we were all over the map musically. We just liked it all, and we kind of let that play into our sound. And we never were trying to be a thrash metal band. So while we did play some thrash metal songs and we even covered some thrash metal bands, it was never straightforward thrash to me. It was just metal. But call us what you will. This album is re-released on Retroactive Records, and glad to get a copy. You might think, why would you be glad to get a copy? Well, bands don't always get copies of the albums they put out. You know, once they pay licensing to whoever owns the music, the bands make it paid. Doesn't mean they're going to get a copy. So I'm glad to have a copy. And yes, I did get it signed. You're going to see it's signed by guitarist Robert Gutierrez, bassist Rob Whitlock, and myself up in the corner up here. And you're like, dude, that's really goofy to sign your own record. Okay, glad you think so. But in my opinion, it's my art, and I'm proud of it. And if I painted a painting, I'd sign it. This is my art, so I signed it. And the other thing is, and this is kind of goofy, but I figure someday I'm going to pass away, and hopefully this is something my kids will hang on to, and it'll be a memory of me. So there you go. Ultimatum Into the Pit. If you're interested in this one, it's on boonsoverstock.com, and I believe roxrecords.com has copies now as well. I can tell you that it was only 200 copies pressed. It is part of the limited run vinyl releases, so those limited run vinyl releases, they sell out fairly quickly, and once they do, unfortunately the prices jump quickly. And I can guarantee there's less than 50 copies left. I don't know how many copies are left, but I know that they pre-sold 80 copies before they even were released. The band got their copies, and there's probably less than 50 copies left in circulation. So this next one I picked up just on a whim. I don't do that a whole lot anymore, but Ramming Speed. This is No Epitaphs, and I was buying something from a seller online, and so I said, I only had one thing that I was buying from him, and the shipping was a bit pricey, and it said you can buy 2 to 3 things without the shipping going up. So I said, what else does he have? So I found Ramming Speed, and I was like, oh, that sounds cool. Let me give that one a shot. This is, let me take it out of the package so you can see the packaging. It's kind of cool. I kind of like the black on black look with the gold lettering. These guys are thrash metal, kind of in the crossover vein. They definitely have one foot planted firmly in punk, and I dig that about them. And you can really tell by even the photographs inside. I mean, my guess is these guys are as inspired by old school punk as they are any thrash metal bands, and they kind of ride that fence, and great stuff. It is black vinyl, and yeah, I'm really happy with this. I'm glad I picked it out. I didn't even listen to it in advance. I just went off of the name of the band, the description of it being crossover, and the fact that it was on Prosthetic Records, and I've not really picked up anything from Prosthetic Records that I didn't dig. So, and the other thing is it was under $10, so that was a bonus. I have no idea if this album usually sells for less than that. I just, like I said, I grabbed it on a whim. So really cool stuff. Ramming Speed. This is a newer band. Great stuff. An older band, Sadist. I'd say they were death thrash metal, death metal, whatever you want to call them. Sadist or Sadist. This was their third album, A Vision of Misery, and let me show you this one too. Now this one is another one that I'm gonna say something about the graphics on. Cover looks really good, actually. I mean, I think they did a great job on the cover. I mean, it's clean. It looks crisp. There's no, pixelation or moires. But the back cover, the band photos look pretty bad. So take a look at who's this here. John Allen on drums down here in the corner. So there he is. As you can see, there's kind of a weird, pattern in his photograph. That's called a moire pattern. So what is a moire pattern? When you have dots, printer's dots, that's what makes up a printed image, little dots. So you take those dots and you scan them on a scanner to reuse them. If you don't descreen and remove those dots, or at least blur the dots, what happens is you've got dots, and then you get new dots from the new printer, printing it again. So you're screening it and you're screening it a second time. You can get these weird moire patterns. And I've got several albums. I got a reissue of the first Montrose album that looks like that too. The entire front cover has got a moire pattern on it because whoever scanned the cover didn't descreen it first, or at least go in and do a proper median or blur to get rid of that crazy printing dots. We always call them rosette patterns, but anyhow, that's a bunch of technical mumbo jumbo, but basically to say I wish somebody would have scanned it properly. And then again, that's more me than anything else because it's what I do for a living. But this one sounds great. It looks great. It's on I should have left it out. It's on a splatter vinyl. And I wish the place I ordered it from had black. They didn't. I would have gone for the black because this looks like funfetti cake or something like that, doesn't it? You know what funfetti cake is with those. It's like a vanilla cake with all the different sprinkles inside the cake. Kind of what you got here. So you got the green and the blue and the pink all mixed in there. It doesn't really match the darkness of this album to me, and it's okay. I mean, it's a cool looking vinyl, but like I said, I would have preferred black. Great band though. Like I said, kind of riding the fence between death metal and thrash metal. And my last one for this episode of What's Spinning, this is one that Cloudy Stormy Milder showed on his channel, and I've watched his channel I think since he started, and he lives in the UK, and he showed an album that I've had for decades, and he showed Gillen Glory Road, but his copy was a double album set, and mine was a single album set, and I'm like, hey, dude, I didn't know that came out as a double album set. Apparently in the UK it did. In the US we got a single version. So the second album in here is called For Gillen Fans Only. It's a little oddity. It's got songs on it, but it's also got some talking and other kind of weird stuff. It definitely is not something that unless you're a huge Gillan fan like I am, that you're going to dig in. If you're just a casual fan of Ian Gillan or Deep Purple, probably not going to be for you. But if you're a Gillan diehard like I am, you got to have it. So I've been on the search for a decent copy of this in good condition at a decent price for a long time, and I finally got a copy. This one I got on eBay. I bid the minimum and I won, and fantastic price I got for it, and a fantastic release. As you can see, this copy is, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it, but let's see if I can get a bit of a glare going. Anyhow, the Gillan logo is embossed or debossed, feels debossed to me, and so that's really cool. It is not a gatefold, it is a just a single record, but it's a double sleeve. It's like that double thickness, so you can fit 2 of them in there, and each album has its own inner sleeve. So let me show you those real quick. So here's the Glory Road inner sleeve, and you can see it's got pictures and lyrics and liner notes from that particular album. And then as well, this is the For Gillan Fans Only inner sleeve, and you can see it also has pictures and liner notes and stuff. Ian Gillan and Gillan Band are 2 different things. So the Ian Gillan Band and Gillan, when Ian Gillan left Deep Purple the first time, he formed the Ian Gillan Band. The Ian Gillan Band was kind of playing this odd jazz fusion sort of sound. Gillan, on the other hand, was, in my opinion, a new wave of British heavy metal band. Now, I know some people would argue with me because Gillan had been around before that, but yeah, Gillan was a singer in Deep Purple, but Gillan, the band, was a new band. And it features some guys who went on to have pretty good resumes after this. You've got John McCoy, who's played in a lot of different bands. He was one of the main guys in Gillan the band for years, and one of the main songwriters as well. Then you've got, of course, Bernie Torme, who went on to have a solo career, played with Ozzy for a while when Randy Rhoads left the band. And then you've got Colin Towns, Mick Underwood. These are all names that are very recognizable from the new wave of British heavy metal. And, of course, Ian Gillan on vocals. So, I don't know. Some people would call him new wave of British heavy metal. Some people wouldn't. I always did. I didn't even know anybody would fight me on it until many years later on the internet when I listed it as one of my favorite new wave of British heavy metal bands, and somebody's like, they're not new wave of British. Well, I don't know. They're metal. They're from Britain, from that time period. So it seems like it fits to me. But maybe, what do you guys think? Do you guys think Gillan, the band, are a new wave of British heavy metal band, or are they just a band? So anyhow, very glad to finally have it. Thank you, Cloudy Stormy Milder, for letting me know about this one. I just never knew, and glad to have it. So that's it for this edition of What's Spinning. Appreciate y'all watching. God bless. Stay strong.